In a world that's increasingly uncertain, many of us struggle with feelings of disillusionment, anxiety, and a sense of purposelessness. We search for answers, trying to make sense of our lives in a rapidly changing society. Jordan Peterson's teachings offer profound insights into the core principles that can help us navigate this complex existence. His message is simple: in order to lead a fulfilling life, we must first recognize a set of universal truths that shape how we interact with the world around us. Today, we'll explore 13 powerful truths that can dramatically transform your life. These are not just ideas to ponder, they are principles to embody, to internalize, and to live by. If you're willing to accept these truths, they will challenge you to rise above mediocrity and live with intention, responsibility, and courage. Let's dive in. Respect yourself because you matter. The first and most fundamental truth in living a meaningful life is the importance of respecting yourself. Often, we are told to respect others, to treat those around us with kindness and dignity. But one of the most overlooked aspects of this is the need to treat ourselves with the same level of care and respect. You can't build healthy relationships, contribute positively to the world, or achieve anything meaningful if you don't first recognize your own value. Self-respect is not the same as arrogance or narcissism. It doesn't mean prioritizing your needs over everyone else's or believing that you are somehow more important than others. Rather, self-respect is the recognition that you, as an individual, are worthy of care, attention, and effort. When you respect yourself, you understand that your well-being, both physical and mental, is vital, and that you have a responsibility to take care of yourself. When you fail to show your self-respect, the consequences can be far-reaching. You may find yourself slipping into negative patterns of behavior like self-neglect, burnout, or even self-destructive tendencies. When you treat yourself poorly, it becomes much easier to fall into bitterness, anger, and frustration. These emotions then start to bleed into your relationships with others, creating a cycle of negativity. But when you start to respect yourself, everything changes. You begin to see yourself not as a victim of circumstances, but as a powerful individual who is capable of improving their life and their relationships. This mindset shift allows you to set boundaries, pursue your passions, and take actions that align with your values. Self-respect also means recognizing your worth in the face of mistakes and imperfections. Many people struggle with self-criticism and guilt, believing that their past mistakes or flaws disqualify them from happiness or success. But true self-respect involves forgiving yourself for past failures and understanding that mistakes are part of the human experience. It means having the courage to stand tall, even when you don't have it all figured out. The practice of self-respect isn't limited to moments of crisis. It's an ongoing process. It's about making daily decisions that prioritize your well-being, such as getting enough sleep, eating nutritious food, pursuing activities that fulfill you, and building meaningful connections with others. When you make these choices, you reinforce your sense of worth and value. Ask yourself, how much effort are you putting into caring for yourself? Are you allowing negativity to dictate your actions? Or are you choosing to honor yourself and live in alignment with your values? By respecting yourself, you lay the groundwork for a life full of growth, empowerment, and meaningful relationships. It's the first step toward not only creating a fulfilling life for yourself, but also becoming a positive force in the world. Your actions have ripple effects. One of the most profound truths we can recognize is that every action we take creates a ripple effect. Our decisions, words, and behaviors extend far beyond our immediate circumstances, influencing the lives of others in ways we often don't fully understand. This truth is a powerful reminder of how much control we have over the world around us, not just for ourselves, but for the people we interact with every day. Every choice you make, no matter how small it seems, has an impact. Whether it's holding the door for someone, offering a kind word, or simply showing up for someone who needs you, these actions can inspire others to do the same. Small acts of kindness can spread, much like throwing a stone into a pond and watching the ripples expand outward. By consciously choosing to act with integrity, respect, and kindness, you are contributing to the collective good and helping create a more compassionate, caring world. On the other hand, negative actions also create ripples. If you act out of anger, jealousy, or bitterness, these emotions can transfer to those around you, causing them to react in kind. Think about it. How often do we respond to stress or frustration by snapping at others? How frequently do our bad moods affect the people in our lives? It's not always intentional, but we're constantly affecting each other, often without even realizing it. This truth isn't just about how we interact with others on a personal level, it's also about the impact we have on the broader community and society. When you take actions that align with your values and purpose, you help to strengthen the fabric of society. When you choose to stand up for what's right, even in small ways, it encourages others to do the same. This kind of collective action leads to social change. The positive energy you put into the world doesn't end with you, it spreads, creating waves of transformation that can reach far beyond your immediate circle. But there's also a warning here. The ripples of your actions aren't just confined to the people you interact with directly. In the age of social media and global connectivity, our actions can now reach thousands, even millions of people. One careless or thoughtless post, comment, or action can be amplified and impact far more than you could ever imagine. It's crucial to remember that everything you do has consequences, both seen and unseen. The power of this truth lies in understanding that you don't just live in isolation, you're part of a larger network of people, all interconnected. The way you act doesn't just affect your immediate world, it extends outward. Whether you choose to uplift or undermine, to act with honesty or deceit, you are contributing to the collective energy of the world. So, what kind of ripples are you creating today? Are you making choices that uplift and encourage others, or are you allowing negativity to spread? What kind of impact do you want to leave behind? By recognizing the ripple effect of our actions, we can begin to act with greater awareness and intention, knowing that even the smallest gestures can make a world of difference. Inaction can be more destructive than failure. It's a common belief that failure is the worst thing that can happen. Many of us fear failure so deeply that we avoid taking risks altogether. We worry that failing at something will define us as inadequate or incapable, and that fear often keeps us from pursuing the things that could lead to personal growth. However, here's a truth that may challenge your thinking in action. The failure to act can be far more destructive than the act of failing itself. When you refuse to act, you close yourself off from opportunities to learn, grow, and experience life in its fullest form. You create a stagnant environment, and rather than moving forward, you are simply stuck. Inaction leads to regret. It leads to wondering what could have been and living with the haunting thought, what if I had tried? The longer you stay in this state of inaction, the more you distance yourself from the life you could have. Think about the times in your life when you hesitated to make a decision or take a step forward because you were afraid of failing. Perhaps it was choosing a career path, taking a chance on a relationship, or even starting a new project. Each time you chose to do nothing, you missed an opportunity to grow. Inaction may feel safer in the short term, but in the long run, it deprives you of the valuable lessons that come from taking risks. Even failure can teach you something profound, but without action, you remain paralyzed, never knowing what you are truly capable of. Failure, in its essence, is an opportunity to learn. It's a chance to adjust your approach, analyze what went wrong, and try again with a deeper understanding. When you fail, you don't have to consider it the end of the road. Instead, see it as a stepping stone to future success. Inaction, on the other hand, offers no opportunity for growth, no learning, no improvement. It's a rejection of progress. We all experience moments of fear and doubt, and it's easy to be overwhelmed by the potential for failure. But here's the paradox: by not taking action, you are essentially failing in the most profound way. You are failing to engage with the world around you. You are failing to take control of your destiny. And the longer you allow yourself to remain inactive, the more opportunities you lose. Life moves forward, whether you choose to take part in it or not. The things you don't do, the risks you don't take, they fade into the past, leaving you with a sense of missed potential. The real damage comes when you look back and see a series of missed opportunities. Those what ifs can be the heaviest burden of all. What actions have you been avoiding because of fear? What could happen if you decided to take a risk and embrace the possibility of failure? Inaction is a form of self-sabotage, a rejection of growth, and a denial of the possibility of success. Don't let fear of failure prevent you from stepping into the arena of life. It's through the willingness to try, to fail, and to rise again that you create a life worth living. The danger is not failing, it's doing nothing at all. You are not your mistakes. One of the most crippling beliefs we can hold is that our mistakes define us. Whether it's a poor decision, an embarrassing failure, or a missed opportunity, we often internalize our errors as a reflection of who we are. But here's the powerful truth: you are not your mistakes. While we all make mistakes, they do not determine our worth or define our future. Mistakes are part of the human experience. They are inevitable. We are not born knowing how to navigate life perfectly. Mistakes are stepping stones to wisdom, opportunities for learning, and gateways to growth. It's not the mistakes themselves that matter, it's how we respond to them. The key is to separate who you are from what you've done. You are not your worst moments or your biggest failures. When we make mistakes, it's easy to fall into a negative self-assessment. We might think, I'm a failure, or I'm not good enough. These thoughts can be incredibly damaging, leading to feelings of shame, self-doubt, and even depression. But the truth is, everyone makes mistakes. Even the most successful, confident people have failed at some point in their lives. What sets them apart is not the absence of failure, but their ability to learn from it and keep moving forward. By allowing a mistake to define who you are, you limit your potential for growth. It's like wearing a label that says failure and carrying it with you every day. But you can choose to peel that label off and rewrite your story. Failure is not the end. It's simply part of the process of becoming who you're meant to be. Embracing your mistakes as valuable lessons rather than defining features of your identity is the key to personal growth. Think of mistakes as a natural part of your learning process. Just as a child learns to walk by falling down countless times, we learn life's important lessons through trial, error, and persistence. Mistakes show us what doesn't work, allowing us to refine our approach, develop resilience, and gain wisdom. Without mistakes, there is no progress. They are simply feedback, pointing us in a new direction and helping us refine our path forward. This does not mean that mistakes should be taken lightly or that we should avoid taking responsibility for them. Owning our mistakes is crucial, as it's only by acknowledging what went wrong that we can learn from it. However, owning your mistakes doesn't mean you have to be defined by them. You can take responsibility, learn from the experience, and then move on. How much of your past are you carrying with you? Are you letting your mistakes hold you back, or are you using them to propel yourself forward? By shifting your perspective and understanding that mistakes are not who you are, you free yourself to live a life of growth and possibility. You are not defined by what you've done wrong, but by how you choose to learn, adapt, and grow from your experiences. Embrace responsibility, not freedom. In today's society, we often associate freedom with the ultimate goal of a fulfilling life. The idea of freedom is tempting, freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want, without the constraints of responsibility. However, true freedom doesn't come from escaping responsibility, it comes from embracing it. This is one of the most important truths we can learn. Freedom is not about avoiding responsibility, it is about taking full responsibility for our lives. At first glance, responsibility may seem like a burden, something that limits our options or adds unnecessary pressure. After all, the word responsibility is often associated with obligation, duty, and the need to meet expectations. But in reality, responsibility is a source of empowerment. It's the very thing that allows us to take control of our lives, shape our future, and experience the freedom we truly desire. When you take responsibility for your actions, your choices, and your circumstances, you step into a position of strength. You stop being a passive observer of your life and become an active participant in it. Responsibility allows you to define your path, set your goals, and make decisions that align with your values and purpose. It's the key to creating meaning in your life. Without responsibility, life becomes chaotic and directionless. If we constantly avoid responsibility, we may find ourselves wandering through life with no real purpose, living reactively rather than proactively. Freedom without responsibility can lead to an empty existence, where nothing feels meaningful or substantial. If you act without purpose, without regard for the consequences of your actions, you lose the ability to create lasting change. True freedom comes from the ability to make choices with intention. It's not about avoiding commitments or responsibilities, but about being empowered to make choices that align with your long-term goals and values. When you embrace responsibility, you gain control over your destiny. You no longer feel like life is happening to you. Instead, you feel like you are shaping it. Another aspect of this truth is the recognition that responsibility doesn't just mean taking on obligations in the traditional sense. It means taking ownership of everything that happens in your life. This includes acknowledging your role in both successes and failures, understanding that you have the power to influence your outcomes, and recognizing that your choices matter. The more responsibility you take on, the more control you have over your future. Responsibility also plays a critical role in personal growth. As you take on more responsibility, you are forced to develop new skills, adopt new perspectives, and overcome challenges. Each responsibility you take on becomes an opportunity for self-improvement. The more you learn to handle responsibility, the more capable and resilient you become. Are you avoiding responsibility in your life? How would your world change if you embraced responsibility in every area of your life, from your personal growth to your relationships and career? By embracing responsibility, you open the door to true freedom, freedom to create, to learn, to grow, and to ultimately design the life you want. Responsibility is not a restriction, it is the gateway to the life you desire. You are stronger than you think. We often underestimate ourselves, especially in the face of adversity. It's easy to believe that we're not strong enough to handle life's challenges, that we lack the resilience to face our fears, or that we're too flawed to succeed. But here's a powerful truth: you are far stronger than you realize. You have untapped reserves of strength and resilience within you, and often it's only in the most difficult moments that you truly discover just how much you are capable of. This truth is rooted in the idea that strength is not something you're born with, it's something that you develop through experience. The challenges you face, the obstacles you overcome, and the moments where you push through adversity all contribute to building your inner strength. You don't know how strong you are until you are forced to be strong. Think back to the toughest moments in your life. At the time, they probably felt overwhelming, like you were standing at the edge of your limits. But somehow you made it through. Maybe it wasn't easy, and maybe you stumbled along the way, but you emerged on the other side more capable, more resilient, and more confident in your ability to handle what life throws at you. That's strength, the strength you've built through each trial you've faced. The truth is, we often sell ourselves short. When we face difficulties, we may start to believe that we're powerless or that we can't possibly overcome the challenges before us. But strength doesn't always come in the form of sheer willpower or an ability to push through without breaking. Real strength comes from the ability to keep going, even when you don't feel like you have anything left to give. It's about showing up each day, doing what you can, and gradually building momentum. The fact that you keep going in the face of hardship is what makes you strong. Moreover, strength doesn't mean being invincible. It's okay to feel vulnerable, to ask for help, or to admit that things are difficult. Recognizing your vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, it's part of your strength. It's the ability to acknowledge your limitations and still push forward, to face your fears and continue, knowing that growth happens outside of your comfort zone. You may not feel invulnerable all the time, but the truth is, you have an incredible capacity for resilience. Your ability to learn from setbacks, to rise after a fall, and to continue moving forward is a form of strength that cannot be underestimated. What situations in your life have made you doubt your strength? How would things change if you truly believed in your ability to handle any challenge that comes your way? By recognizing that you are stronger than you think, you open the door to limitless possibilities. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as an active participant in shaping your destiny. Your strength lies in your ability to endure, to learn, and to grow, traits that are built through every challenge, every setback, and every triumph. Life is about growth, not comfort. In our fast-paced, convenience-oriented society, the pursuit of comfort often takes center stage. We live in an age where the desire for comfort, whether physical, emotional, or mental, drives many of our decisions. From seeking the easiest path to avoiding discomfort at all costs, we are constantly conditioned to prioritize ease over challenge. But here's a profound truth: life is about growth, not comfort. Comfort can be alluring, but it is in discomfort that we find the greatest opportunities for personal transformation. Comfort, while seemingly desirable, can become a trap. When we settle into the familiar, we stop evolving. Comfort zones, though safe and secure, are often the enemy of progress. They keep us stagnant, preventing us from realizing our full potential. Growth only happens when we push ourselves beyond our limits, when we step into the unknown and challenge ourselves to overcome obstacles. Consider this: the most significant moments of growth in your life have likely come from times of discomfort. Whether it was taking on a challenging project, facing a fear, or enduring a difficult personal trial, it was through those uncomfortable experiences that you learned the most about yourself. Discomfort forces us to adapt, to expand our capabilities, and to become stronger. It may feel unpleasant in the moment, but it is precisely this discomfort that shapes us into the person we are meant to be. Growth requires change, and change is inherently uncomfortable. When we are forced to confront something new or unfamiliar, our natural instinct is often to resist, but resistance to discomfort only prolongs our development. True growth happens when we stop running from challenges and begin to embrace them. This doesn't mean that we should constantly seek out hardship or avoid relaxation altogether, but it does mean that we should be mindful of the fact that the pursuit of comfort at all costs limits our potential. We should focus on pushing ourselves in ways that feel uncomfortable but lead to greater personal fulfillment. Whether it's learning a new skill, stepping into a leadership role, or making a tough decision, these moments of discomfort are the building blocks of a meaningful life. Moreover, growth is not just about tackling big, grand challenges, it's also about the small, everyday actions that push us out of our comfort zones. It could be as simple as taking responsibility for something you've been avoiding, having a difficult conversation, or trying something new and unfamiliar. These small acts of courage can accumulate over time, leading to profound transformation. Ask yourself, how much time do you spend in your comfort zone? What challenges are you avoiding because you fear discomfort? How might your life change if you intentionally sought out growth instead of comfort? By focusing on growth over comfort, you set yourself up for a life of continuous improvement, learning, and fulfillment. It's through embracing discomfort that you unlock the door to true progress and self-empowerment. You can only control yourself. One of the most difficult lessons in life is realizing that we cannot control the actions of others. We often wish that the people around us, whether family, friends, or colleagues, would change their behavior to make our lives easier or more enjoyable. We might think that if only they would act differently, we could be happy. But here's an undeniable truth: you can only control yourself. This truth is both liberating and challenging. It's liberating because it gives you the power to focus solely on your own actions, behaviors, and mindset without feeling responsible for the actions of others. You can control your reactions, your choices, and how you approach life, but you cannot force others to act in a way that aligns with your desires. The more you accept this, the less frustrated you will become with the world and the people around you. People are unpredictable. They have their own lives, their own experiences, and their own motivations. Trying to control them is an exercise in frustration. No matter how much you may want someone to change, you cannot make them do so. You can influence others through your actions, but you cannot control them. This is a hard truth, especially when we care deeply about others, but it's essential to recognize that each person is ultimately responsible for their own choices. So, what does this mean for you? It means that the most important thing you can do is focus on yourself. Instead of worrying about how others are acting or trying to fix their problems, channel your energy into bettering yourself. You can choose to act with integrity, kindness, and respect, and in doing so, you influence those around you. But the key here is that you're not trying to control others, you're simply leading by example. By focusing on yourself, you also give yourself the freedom to make decisions that align with your values, goals, and well-being. It's easy to get caught up in trying to please others or trying to fix their issues, but in doing so, we lose sight of our own needs and desires. When you take control of your own life, you create space for others to do the same. In relationships, whether personal or professional, you can be supportive and understanding without feeling the burden of responsibility for someone else's actions. In addition, controlling yourself is an ongoing process. It involves managing your emotions, being mindful of your reactions, and staying true to your values, even when the world around you is chaotic. It's about being accountable for your actions and accepting responsibility for how you show up in the world. The more you practice self-control, the more empowered you become, and the more you realize that you have the power to shape your own life. Are you spending too much time focusing on what others are doing or not doing? How could your life change if you focused entirely on controlling your own actions and responses instead? When you embrace the truth that you can only control yourself, you liberate yourself from the endless cycle of frustration, resentment, and disappointment. You begin to focus on the one thing you truly have control over, yourself, and in doing so, you unlock your own potential to create the life you want. The journey is where the meaning lies. In a world that often emphasizes end results, success, achievement, and completion, we tend to overlook the most important aspect of any endeavor, the journey. We often find ourselves fixated on the destination, believing that happiness and fulfillment lie in the moment when we finally reach our goals. But here's an important truth: the journey is where the meaning lies, not the end point. When we place all our focus on achieving the end result, we miss out on the richness that life has to offer in the process. Life's true meaning is found in the daily experiences, the obstacles we overcome, and the lessons we learn along the way. While it's natural to want to reach a certain destination, whether it's a personal achievement, career success, or a specific life goal, it's the steps we take to get there that truly shape who we are. Consider the moments when you've been fully immersed in a project, a hobby, or a relationship. Often, the deepest sense of satisfaction comes not from the final outcome, but from the growth, learning, and experiences that happen throughout the process. It's the hours spent honing a skill, the small wins along the way, and the perseverance through challenges that give us a sense of purpose. The journey teaches us who we are, what we're capable of, and what truly matters to us. Too often, we think that the achievement itself will bring fulfillment. We imagine that once we get that promotion, buy that house, or reach that milestone, we'll finally feel satisfied. But in reality, the joy and fulfillment we seek are often fleeting once the goal is achieved. The moment we cross the finish line, the goalpost moves, and we're left chasing the next thing. This constant pursuit can leave us feeling empty, as if there's always something more to strive for and never enough time to enjoy the present. The journey is where we cultivate resilience, patience, and self-awareness. It's where we experience growth and transformation, even if we don't always see it at the time. The process allows us to discover our strengths, our passions, and our capacity to overcome adversity. It's through struggle that we develop our character and our ability to navigate the complexities of life. Think about a time when you worked tirelessly toward a goal, only to find that the process itself was more rewarding than the outcome. Whether it was completing a challenging project, building a meaningful relationship, or even traveling to a new place, the lessons and experiences along the way often leave a lasting impact far beyond the end result. Are you focused solely on the destination, or are you embracing and appreciating the journey you're on? What might happen if you started to find meaning in each step, rather than just in the final goal? By shifting your focus to the journey, you begin to live more fully in the present. You recognize that the true reward comes not from achieving a specific goal, but from the growth, learning, and fulfillment you experience along the way. The destination will always be a moving target, but the journey is something you can fully experience, enjoy, and learn from every single day. Life is unfair, but you can still succeed. It's a harsh reality, but an undeniable one: life is not fair. From the moment we are born, we are thrust into a world where circumstances, our environment, our family, our opportunities are often out of our control. Some are born into privilege, while others face significant hardships. The playing field is far from level, and no amount of wishing will make it so. However, just because life is unfair doesn't mean that success is out of your reach. Life's inherent unfairness can be disheartening, especially when it seems like others have advantages you don't. Some people are born into wealth, receive better opportunities, or have a support system that propels them forward. Meanwhile, you may find yourself struggling, feeling that the world is stacked against you. But here's the critical point: your success doesn't depend on the fairness of the world. It depends on how you respond to the hand you're dealt. While you cannot control where or how you start, you have complete control over what you do with your life. Success doesn't come from being handed opportunities on a silver platter. It comes from how you work with what you have, how you adapt, and how you persevere. In a world that isn't always just, the greatest success stories often come from those who refuse to accept their circumstances as permanent. They don't wait for life to be fair. They find ways to succeed despite the obstacles they face. The key to overcoming life's unfairness lies in taking ownership of your journey. This means acknowledging that you may not have the same resources, opportunities, or privileges as others, but also understanding that your potential is not dictated by these factors. Instead of focusing on what you lack, focus on what you can do with what you have. Success is built on the foundation of hard work, resilience, and determination. It's about being resourceful, learning from setbacks, and pushing forward even when it seems like the odds are against you. It's important to recognize that success is not always about wealth, status, or recognition. Success is about personal growth, achieving your goals, and living in alignment with your values. It's about continually striving to improve, regardless of the circumstances. While some may achieve outward success more easily, true fulfillment comes from within, from knowing that you are doing the best you can with what you've been given. The stories of many successful individuals show that even when life seems particularly unfair, there is always room for growth and achievement. People who come from disadvantaged backgrounds, who face discrimination, or who are burdened by life's challenges can still rise to great heights. It's not about the cards you're dealt, it's about how you play them. So, how are you responding to the unfairness in your life? Are you letting it define you, or are you choosing to push forward, finding opportunities in the face of adversity? You may not be able to control the unfairness of the world, but you have complete control over your response to it. By focusing on what you can control, your effort, your mindset, and your actions, you can build a life of success regardless of the obstacles you encounter. Honesty is the key to living well. Honesty is often regarded as one of the most fundamental virtues, yet it's one of the hardest principles to consistently live by. In a world where it's easy to tell small lies, avoid uncomfortable truths, or sugarcoat our realities, we often forget that honesty is the foundation of a fulfilling and meaningful life. It's not just about being truthful with others, it's about being honest with ourselves. When you embrace honesty, you open the door to authenticity and self-empowerment. The more truthful you are, the more you live in alignment with who you truly are, instead of who you think you should be. Living honestly means embracing both your strengths and your weaknesses, accepting who you are, and acknowledging the areas in your life that need growth. It's about confronting reality, no matter how uncomfortable it may be, and being willing to take responsibility for your actions and choices. Honesty with yourself is the first step toward personal growth. It requires self-awareness and a willingness to face difficult truths, such as recognizing when you're holding yourself back, making excuses, or avoiding responsibility. Being honest with yourself means that you stop lying about your circumstances, your choices, or your potential. You acknowledge your flaws and mistakes without letting them define you, and you take proactive steps to improve. Only through this kind of self-honesty can you begin to change, grow, and achieve your potential. However, honesty with others is equally vital. When we're dishonest with those around us, even in small ways, we erode trust. Trust is the foundation of every healthy relationship, and dishonesty, whether through deceit, omission, or avoidance, undermines that foundation. When we hide the truth from others or distort reality, we are not only being unfair to them but also to ourselves. By avoiding honesty, we avoid the depth and authenticity that relationships thrive on. Many people fear being honest because they worry about the consequences, what others might think, or how they might react. The truth, however, is that honesty brings clarity and freedom. While honesty may sometimes be uncomfortable or result in short-term conflict, it leads to deeper understanding, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of integrity. When you speak the truth, you align yourself with your values and create an environment where trust can flourish. It's also important to recognize that honesty doesn't mean brutal or unfiltered truth telling. It's not about being harsh or insensitive. Honesty involves tact and empathy, sharing the truth in a way that is compassionate and constructive. It's about expressing your thoughts and feelings in a way that fosters connection rather than creating division. What truths are you avoiding in your life? What would happen if you embraced complete honesty, both with yourself and others? The more you practice honesty, the more you begin to live authentically and align your actions with your values. You build trust with others, strengthen your sense of self, and create a life rooted in integrity. Honesty may not always be easy, but it is always the path to a more fulfilling, meaningful existence. Small habits lead to big changes. When we think about making significant life changes, it's easy to focus on big, dramatic actions, the kind of leaps that feel like they will instantly improve our lives. We fantasize about achieving our goals overnight, whether it's transforming our health, building a successful career, or becoming more disciplined. However, the truth is, big transformations don't happen overnight. They are built on small, consistent habits. The power of small habits cannot be overstated. It's easy to overlook the significance of everyday choices, but those choices, whether we're aware of them or not, add up over time. Small positive actions, repeated consistently, compound to create significant change. Whether it's waking up earlier, practicing gratitude every day, or dedicating 20 minutes a day to learning something new, these seemingly small steps accumulate to create profound transformations in your life. Consider how habits work. A single push-up doesn't make you strong, but consistently doing push-ups over time will. Similarly, a single act of kindness may not change the world, but a lifetime of small, thoughtful gestures can create ripples of positivity that extend far beyond what you might expect. These small actions are the building blocks of your future success. The beauty of small habits is that they are easier to implement and maintain, rather than trying to make drastic changes all at once, which can feel overwhelming and unsustainable. Small habits allow you to gradually incorporate positive practices into your daily routine. Over time, these small changes become ingrained in your lifestyle, creating a lasting impact. Moreover, small habits are less intimidating. It's much easier to commit to 5 minutes of exercise or reading a few pages of a book every day than to commit to a full hour-long workout or finishing an entire novel. As you start small, you build momentum and confidence. That initial 5-minute habit grows, and before you know it, you're doing 30 minutes of exercise or reading a chapter a day. This momentum leads to a sense of accomplishment and builds your belief in your ability to follow through. Another critical aspect of small habits is their ability to create a sense of control. When life feels chaotic or overwhelming, small intentional actions allow you to feel grounded. These habits become your anchor, helping you regain focus and direction even on the most difficult days. And importantly, the consistency that small habits provide leads to better long-term results than sporadic bursts of effort. Think of it this way. If you were to dedicate just 10 minutes a day to learning a new skill at the end of the year, you would have spent over 60 hours developing that skill, likely enough to make substantial progress or even master it. What small habit can you start today that will lead to big changes over time? The key to real change is not through dramatic gestures or sudden, intense efforts. It's through the consistent, intentional actions you take every day, no matter how small they seem. Over time, these small habits lead to big results, building the life you want one small step at a time. Serve others for true fulfillment. In a world that often encourages individualism and personal gain, it may seem counterintuitive to suggest that the key to a fulfilling life lies in serving others. Yet, true fulfillment comes not from accumulating wealth, status, or power, but from contributing to the well-being of others. The most meaningful lives are often those devoted to the service of others, whether in big, grand gestures or small everyday acts of kindness. At the heart of this truth is the recognition that we are not isolated individuals living in a vacuum. We are part of a broader community, society, and world. Our lives are interconnected with the lives of others. The way we live, the way we treat others, and the impact we have on those around us matters more than we often realize. Serving others doesn't just make the world a better place, it also enriches our own lives, creating a sense of purpose, connection, and satisfaction that cannot be found in material wealth or self-centered pursuits. The service we offer doesn't have to be dramatic or grandiose. It can be as simple as offering a listening ear to someone in need, helping a colleague with a task, volunteering in your community, or supporting a friend through a difficult time. The value of service isn't in the size of the action, it's in the intention behind it. When we serve others, we shift our focus away from our own desires and problems, and in doing so, we create a deeper connection to the world around us. This shift in focus can be profoundly transformative. One of the most powerful aspects of serving others is that it brings us closer to our own humanity. We all have an innate desire to feel needed, to feel that our actions matter, and that we are contributing to something greater than ourselves. When we serve others, we satisfy this fundamental need, fostering a sense of connection and shared purpose. This can lead to a profound sense of fulfillment and happiness, knowing that we are positively affecting the lives of others, even in small ways. Moreover, serving others helps to build stronger relationships. People appreciate being helped, whether it's by offering a kind word, providing assistance during tough times, or simply showing up for them. These acts of kindness strengthen the bonds between people and create communities where people genuinely care for each other. As you serve others, you build trust and respect, which, in turn, creates an environment where everyone can thrive. The service you provide doesn't just impact others, it impacts you as well. When you step outside of your own needs and desires, you open yourself to a greater sense of purpose. This sense of purpose is what drives us to continue growing, learning, and improving. Helping others gives us perspective on our own challenges and encourages gratitude for the blessings we often take for granted. What small ways can you begin serving others today? How can you contribute to the lives of those around you, even in a seemingly small way? True fulfillment is not found in selfish pursuit but in giving to others. By serving those around you, you contribute to the betterment of the world and enrich your own life in ways that no material possession or personal achievement could ever match. Living by these 13 truths requires commitment, self-awareness, and courage. They challenge you to step outside of your comfort zone, face your fears, and take responsibility for your life. But the rewards are immense: a life filled with meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Are you ready to take the first step toward embracing these truths and transforming your life? The choice is yours, and the path forward is waiting.